All right, guys, here we go. Alliance Trial. I'm on one of Kitty's smaller accounts because I used all of mine, but I wanted to use a smaller account so that we have a better understanding of how the heroes don't need to be at a high level for you to score decently. It's really a matter of how you're using them. Having said that, you want to use one color if possible, possibly two, and keep in mind that Lady M and sometimes Leah will help you in buying extra rounds at the end. So we will go in here, and what I like to do is set up my team as though I can't borrow any heroes and try to keep in mind the order that you're using. As you can see, the heroes here, I'm going for green and I'm going to use Lady M. So my other option here is to use a fourth green or a second yellow. I don't think that a +2 Myers is going to do as much damage as if I used this Hartwell, even though she doesn't have a specialized attack. That extra fourth green will give each one of the green tiles that hit the monster that much more of a score. So in theory, this will be our team. And at this point, we go to assisting hero and see what we can use. What I'd like to use is Samuel. And there should be a couple here. I put one up, so we will get rid of Hartwell and we'll use Samuel. So the order of the heroes is also just as important. Ulrich and Lady M I have on either side because they're not really attack heroes. Obsidian and Samuel are, so I have them next to Mars in the middle because Mars' skill affects adjacent heroes only. So Mars will boost the attack of the heroes he's next to. So in this case, we're using Obsidian Samuel for attack, and we want Mars, when he rages, to boost both Obsidian and Samuel. So we will go in here and I will kind of explain my thought process. So I count down. You can hold the monster with your thumb to get this screen here, and it will tell you how many rounds of certain skills or negative effects that you've put on are left. So in this case, you have silent for 10 rounds. That's why you get an 11th turn before the monster attacks you and starts to kill you. I actually count as I go in my head, and I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now at this point, I've raged all my heroes. I have turn 9, turn 10, and turn 11 before the monster is going to hit me. But I want to use Lady M in conjunction with Mars, because Mars will reduce the rage that's on the monster and Lady M will stun him for 4 rounds. And I want to do that as near the end as possible. So while I have 2 or 3 turns left, I'm not going to use those heroes at the bottom so that I can extend my playing time on the board and hit. So that's 9. And if I'm unsure, I can hold the monster down, and it shows me I have 1 more turn before that monster can hit me. So another thing I'm keeping in mind is that after I stun this monster, basically I want to use the 4 rounds I have again from the stall that Lady M uses. Holding her down, you'll see any effects that the heroes currently have, which right now is nothing actually going on because I haven't used them. But after we use her the first time, I want to basically focus on just trying to re-rage her within the 4 turns available. And I let the board do what it does. So rather than focusing on trying to hit the monster with green, I'm going to focus on getting yellow so that I can keep playing and keep playing. So I have that 1 turn left, and I'm going to use it to try to set up my board. It's kind of telling me to use that yellow right there, but I don't want to do that because those 3 tiles are going to rage Lady M that much more once we get past this next turn. So I'm going to look elsewhere and see what I can use, which actually looks like nothing. Yeah, it looks like the only thing on the board is that one move. So while I would like to use an extra turn to clear some purple or clear some blue off of there, I won't use it because I want those 3 yellow tiles for my next round of rage. So now the other thing is, when you use these heroes' special skills, try to use them in order. So I'm going to use Lady M to stun the monster. Then I'm going to use Ulrich, who will drop the defense, as well as, if it mattered, it's going to spread out the damage on our heroes. In this case, it won't really matter much, but sometimes it will. If you're using a really high level Lady M, you may get an extra turn because she won't die if the damage is spread out among everybody else. From here, I had mentioned how Mars will boost the attack of his adjacent heroes. And so I'm going to use him next so that he buffs both Obsidian and Samuel. I'm going to use Obsidian next because Obsidian, I have to find it here, will also... He will also pick one hero at random to buff. You'll see it flash after this. So you see Lady M flash. So she... I think that was the defense that he stunned. I use Samuel last also because he's going to automatically re-rage a random hero. And if I've already used him and he picked, let's say, Mars again, Mars would be already raged and it would be a wasted hero. So we also have a 1 in 4 chance of him immediately raging Lady M for us again, which he did that time. But I have 4 turns to use. So this is where I was talking about using the board to try to get more points. So that's 1, 2, and as you can see, I'm not really paying a ton of attention to worrying about greens, and I'm also not paying a ton of attention to yellow right now. I'm trying to clear the board of all the other colors so that I can keep playing. That's 3, just to make sure I'm holding the monster down. I do have 1 round left while he can't gain rage, so I will use that on green. Now I'll use Lady M again, and because that rage was lowered by Mars 4 turns ago and he was stunned, now we have 4 more turns of can't gain rage. So now we're going to focus on trying to make sure we rage Lady M before the 4th turn is done. So I have 1 more turn, and she is just about raged. Obviously, you know what I'm going to do next, but it brings up a point, which is that the far left and the far right are empty spots. So that far right yellow will fly through and not hit the monster. And if it mattered, which it didn't this time, but when you miss with a tile, that color rages at 2 times speed. So if we were really close to missing out on Lady M, that 1 extra tile at the end would have raged twice, so it would have counted as 2, which comes in handy sometimes if you have a board like this where we only have 2 yellow, and it might not matter at the end of this, but sometimes you'll end up with 3 towards the left or the right, and when you shoot those through and not hit the monster, you end up counting it as 6. Lady M needs, I think, around 10 to rage. So if you get 3 to go through like that, that's over half of your rage again right there. The other thing to keep in mind is that Samuel, if he rages again, is kind of our last-ditch hope at possibly raging 1 more time. So I'm going to actually use the green over here. And we don't need to hold off on anything anymore when these heroes start to rage, because at this point, all you're worrying about is getting Lady M raged so that you can stall 1 more time. So that was 1. It is not looking good because there are almost 0 yellow on the board. So I'm going for these green here just so that I can get this Samuel in hopes that we get lucky and he rages Lady M. Now this should be that should have been our last turn. As you can see, Can't Gain Rage is gone, so we need to use her. And we have 4 more turns. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we got stuck again. I doubt we're going to get lucky, but you never know what happens. At least we got one more hit here with Mars, and that'll just about do us unless we get lucky. I'll use this red bomb over here in hopes that perhaps we get a yellow pulled up on that side. Nonetheless, we have nearly 700,000 points, which is not bad when you consider we are using a couple of +4 heroes at 310, a Mars that is just +270, and a Lady M at +0. We did use my +5 Samuel here at the bottom. Sorry, +4 Samuel, but it really isn't about the level of the heroes. If you figure we did 700,000 times 9, you're looking at a little over 6 million, which is not bad when you consider the scores here as we scroll down. And that's not to say anything about any of the players in particular. It's just to say that there is a strategy that goes into Alliance Trial that is more than just play your best heroes. Now, you may be asking, it's a yellow monster, why aren't we using purple heroes? Well, purple tiles will do twice as much damage to yellow, but in this case, most of us don't have high or decent purple heroes, and we certainly don't have enough to run 4 or 5 of them. So what we're doing is picking a stronger color that is more available and working with that. The only color we wouldn't really want to use is a whole bunch of yellow, because those will be half of the attack. Just as purple would double, yellow would be like half. It would be one of those weak hits rather than one of the strong hits. So we aren't really doing that in this case. This team is really good because Ulrich gives a 30 or 40% attack boost in addition to his tying the heroes or the enemies together, and you also get that boost from Mars, and you get that random boost from Obsidian. So that's the reason that we're going with green rather than purple. Again, not really about the levels, but more so about how we're using them. And there is our friend, Mr. Lag. No big surprise there. If you lose count like I did, you just look, I have 2 more turns. I really do need to get green going, but as you can see, they're all pretty close. So no problem there. We're all set. 1 more round we can use, and let's see, I can probably scoot that blue over in hopes that we just help out our board for later. Didn't really, but it brought another yellow up to the top, so give us a better chance once we get into this part of it to keep playing and score more points. So we are at 4 turns again before we do anything. Obviously, I'll use that. 1, 2. As you can see, we will get double on yellow here, but also those going through the side. And if we needed it, that was what I was explaining, is that it rages twice as fast. Having 1 more turn, I'll go ahead and use some green. use Lady M, and we have 4 more turns. One, I'll use this over here, and as you can see, her rage is just about halfway. These 2 yellow on the left are going to almost finish her off, but not quite, as you can see. And now we really just need a little bit of luck again, but it wouldn't be the first time. We have 2 more turns to get basically any yellow. And we are screwed. Little late, but that happens. So 184, not very good score. But that's the breaks. If you ever look at the scores and kind of wonder why some people do so much better than others, and you're thinking it's because of those hero levels, it's really not. It's more about this strategy. I'm probably not playing as well as I normally would also because I'm talking my way all the way through this, but it is what it is, and it is still not too bad. I looked at that monster for a second to see that I still had 8 rounds left, and so I'm going to go ahead and use these, even though I talked about holding them, because there's so many rounds left, and I have that green dynamite on the board. So I'm not really too worried about not raging again before I really need to. So you got lucky and got Mars on that Samuel hit. So we have 5 rounds left. I'll hold off because that one swipe of Mars's race car isn't really going to make or break this score. So mostly I'm just looking at getting the board set up for the end. Generally, at least once every 3 turns, at least once a day, you're going to get a board where you get a run of green tiles, where you get that dynamite that, automatically fires on the, 3rd cascade or so. And when those combos become 3 or 4, when that green hits, that score really adds up. That's kind of where those big rounds come from, and that's all you really need is one of those every day, and you're going to have no problem getting your 20 levels of personal, or for that matter, ranking, in the top 20 or so in the state. So set off Lady M and then Mars, and so now we're on our 4 count over and over and over again. So Lady M obviously won't be a problem. We have 2 turns. On the last turn, I will use that dynamite, but not currently. Actually, if you look at Lady M's rage bar at the bottom, you'll see that it's filled to just below the 8. Might get away with just using 3 and rage her, and now I can save that dynamite for another turn. That seemed to work out pretty well. Probably should have saved Samuel, because as you can see, he re-raged Lady M, and because I wasn't paying attention, I basically wasted that skill. But it is what it is, as they say. Make sure that I am where I need to be before I use her again. And now I have 4 turns. 1, 2, see. Let's try 2. That was not very good. 3 way over here. Bingo. 4. Looks like we are shit out of luck here, but still scored 600,000 again. So as you can see, currently only at 3 million, but we did have that one garbage round in the middle, and we also didn't have much luck getting that one really good score. But I guarantee you, by the end of the 3 turns tomorrow, there will be a board that jumps out there, and alone will be 1.5 or 2 million, and this score will end up being probably double tomorrow if she plays it or if I jump on and do the same. So we will see. Guys, don't hesitate to ask questions. I know it doesn't seem like that much involved. You just put heroes up and smash tiles, but there's a lot more involved, and it's really fun when we all get together as a group and score well, because we are always up here at number 2, but we are often right behind MTN, and they get kind of the glory for everything. So if we can do one thing a little bit better and possibly beat them sometimes in one thing, I think that is pretty awesome. So ask if you have questions, and I will see you soon.